Greetings and salutations, race fans, motorsport lovers, and for today, hill climb and time attack specialists and fans. And welcome to a special show brought to you by Raceday.tv. Today, we bring you Ian Shrosbree, the head honcho, the main man, the big wheel, the big cheese of the Simola Hillclimb. Ian, thank you very much for joining us. And Simola Hillclimb. Let's get excited. I mean, we would have been go in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, it would have been very close to us now. But yeah, sadly, as we all know, with the situation that's running around the world, we had to postpone. So we're looking at September. We've got a provisional date. We're just checking with all our suppliers and so on to see if we can make it work with them. So yeah, we hope that the virus is over and done with, and people are allowed to socialize again by September, and then yeah, so that's the target date, and we hope we can put it on at that time.
It must be quite difficult with an event of this magnitude, and it truly is a great event. And we've got a picture of the pits with all sorts of people on there. There are many people, many suppliers, many competitors who all come together over a week period. And you were so close to the go when the lockdown came. And how do you you had a lot of momentum and it's kind of now pause. How do you build up that momentum again, going back into the actual race?
Yeah, look, it's difficult, and as you mentioned, we have so many different people involved in this thing. You know, from municipality officials to volunteers. You know, all in all, over the weekend, we have about 600 people helping us, and trying to coordinate all of them. That's one of the biggest challenge, and availability. And people know the May date, and they plan ahead of it. Already we've got some volunteers that help us that have got holidays booked in September. So, you know, they can't help us. So we have to find others to help us with that. And yeah, so it makes it difficult. You know, as it is at the moment, like every day is almost a new day with different stakeholders, different situations within their environment. You know, just simple things like our regular suppliers, some of them might have other bookings in September, or alternatively, they might not even be in business by September, you know. So that's one of the things we're looking at, regular suppliers who might not be there in September. So we have to try and counter all these scenarios or plan for different scenarios. So it's keeping us very busy. It's like double the work for one event, because we did it all for May and now we have to do it all for September with additional challenges that we don't even know about.
And then that's going to be interesting how that bangs into May in 2021. And you've got yeah, it's going to be interesting times we live in, they say.
Yeah, very much so. So for sure, you know, if September's all good, it doesn't leave that much time to go into May, but the momentum will keep going. So I don't think that's too much of a problem.
Yeah, and the most important supplier, sorry to interrupt you, and I've got the most important supplier is opposite the press office in that lovely tent is a lady who makes the most divine, delicious, scrumptious, unstoppable eating hamburgers with all sorts of stuff on them. And the coffee machine, there's a Lavazza machine there. Got to get them there.
I remember that was your favorite part of the whole event. You mentioned to me, I don't know how many times.
They're little small things amuse small minds, they say.
Well, you know, it's different details for different folks that keep them coming back. So, you know, for some people it's food. For some people it's maybe the beer or the coffee, or some people the cars. You know, the petrol heads, it's the cars. I don't know where you fit in.
I'll tell you what, so cars. Let's have a look at some of them. I mean, Franco Scribanti in Chevron, winner of Classic Car Friday. Eddie, that's his baby. It's his joy. It's his absolute passion. He's been working hard on that car again, just to make it. There are so many iconic cars here. So many. Andre Bezuidenhout's Hillclimb Special. It's their cars. Willie Bard. Now, okay, Willie, we've got to get him back, and there's been a bit of development there and all of that. But he came so close, and the tragedy of the drama that unfolded last year, it was... my first choice is the cars, yeah. What's your favorite car?
Oh, it's an old Group N Maxima. Someone used to drive an old Group N Maxima, if I recall correctly. And I haven't seen it around for a while, but do you remember that car?
Yeah.
Was it any to drive?
It's absolutely. It was a wonderful car that was one of the most exciting race cars I ever drove. One of the most unlikely car. The only place in the world that a Maxima raced was South Africa, and one of them is actually in the Nissan Museum in Japan as testament to the craziness of South Africa. So is the Maxima going to be there?
I don't know. Are you entering it? That's my question.
I'd love to. I'd love to. So from an entry point of view, clearly we must have the Kraken, as we call Franco Scribanti's crazy, way out of... It's a monster, it's a beast, it invokes fear. So the Kraken will be there. Has Reggie Roots paid his entry fee yet?
Yes, he has. That was paid fairly rapidly this year, as you can expect. And yeah, as we were talking earlier, it's a standing joke with everybody at Reggie. And thank goodness he's got a good sense of humor and he can take it on the chin.
He's absolutely fantastic guy. And anyway, so you've got him, Wilhelm Bart, and I'm talking of King of the Hill type of contenders. Andre Bezuidenhout in the single-seater, and Robbie Walk had a go with the A1 last year. They bit of development there, and that could be an exciting one as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that Robbie's a phenomenally quick driver, and the A1's quick. I think when they don't race it a lot. Obviously, it's only hill climb time, so they don't do much development. But over the last 2 years, it's got closer and closer, and I think that this year, I think Robbie will be quite a serious competitor for Andre. And then also Reggie, this year he's not in a standard saloon. They entered in the Penta car that was, I think it was Carl Mitchell's before. So he's going to be, a serious threat. We saw at Emerald Casino that he won there and beat Franco.
No,
I think the chips are down.
That wasn't Carl's car. That was actually the car that Freddie built up for Edric Swires. And Carl has still got his car. Yeah, so there's another dark horse coming in there, Carl.
Yeah, sure. Sorry, I mixed those two up. So I think there's definitely going to be quite tight at the sharp end. I think if we look back at the history of the race, for many years, the average winning time was 0.3 seconds between first and second, and sometimes third and fourth as well. Only in the last couple of years, when Franco brought the car and Andre brought the single-seater, did the gaps extend for a while. But now the guys are all developing cars and buying cars, and so I think the winning margins are going to come down, and I think it'll be a lot tighter going forward than it has been perhaps in the last 2 years.
And that's always exciting. Who was it? Was it Eminem? Said that you've only got one shot, and truly you've only got one shot, and when it's tenths of seconds that come down to it, it plays on the brain, and the guy with a strong brain is going to do really, really well. Calm brain.
Absolutely. And as you know, the format of the event, we have the class finals, which is separate to the top 10 shootout. And we found in the past that someone would get it right for the class finals, but not necessarily get it right in the top 10 shootout. So they might be class champion, but not win the King of the Hill. So when it's close, that, as you say, that tension builds, and there's no room for error. The guys have to just get it spot on and perfectly to put the time in.
And the classic car Friday for me is always a blast from the past and a playback from way back, and something that just really gets some of the emotions going. We spoke with Willie Hepburn earlier today, and he's all revved up and ready to bring his Opel V8 down. And there's Willie. What a legend! And he's actually wanting to have a go at Classic Car Friday.
Yeah, I mean, Willie's brilliant. All the years in motorsport, one of my memories of motorsport is when I first started racing Formula V's in 83 or 84, I think it was, or somewhere around there. And we were at Volcom, and Willie blew a motor, and Friday night drove back to Joburg, rebuilt the motor, and came back and arrived at 5 in the morning, I think Saturday morning, and did some laps before practices started. And it made an impression on me about how enthusiastic this guy is, and how dedicated he is. And the years subsequently have proven it. It's what is it now, 30, 40 years later, and Willie's still there, and he's still changing tires, and he's doing his own work, and he's still as competitive as hell. And that just shows how really passionate he is for the sport, and what he's put into the sport as a competitor, and other ways too. It's just quite phenomenal. And so we love having him there. We love it that for Willie, after all his experience, winning the hill climbs high on his priority list. It's great for us as an event. And and I think that's part of the event is having the classics, having the legends, the legendary names there, and the fact that people can relate to them and talk to them and see their cars and all that side of things. That's what makes the event great. And so for me, Classic Car Friday is as important as the big guys. There's beautiful machinery, valuable machinery, rare machinery that comes out to compete. And it's a real spectacle. We've seen over the last couple of years that it's getting more and more popular. The crowd's growing on the Friday, more and more so. And I think in time, the crowd's going to get even bigger. The cars we attract going to get better, and I can see that this element growing even more than bigger than it is currently.
Ian, Ruben van Niekerk is watching at the moment, and first of all, he says September's a great date and it works for him. And then his question, and I don't know quite how to frame this, but he says, are there any fast VWs entered?
Fast VWs, well, there's one, we don't know how fast it is entered. There's, Graham Nathan usually comes along, or has been wanting to come along with the car, and he's coming along with a Polo. Unfortunately, it's the only one. We were hoping to get VW involved more actively as a manufacturer, and unfortunately they're not coming with their Parks Peak winning electric car, which I was hoping for.
I've heard some budget spoken about that car, and because it needs more than the odd ESCOM technician to run it, and there's some proper rocket scientists. But I think just to rephrase, clearly any car that Graham Nathan comes will be quick, and it'll have lots and lots of boost. But to rephrase or ask Ruben's question in another way, what super fast air-cooled cars have we got there? There must be a Porker or two that's got to be quick. There you go.
So I don't have the entry list right in front of me, and as we mentioned all fair a little bit, most of the guys I think will be there that have entered. We've had one withdrawal. Everyone else seems to want to come. So I can talk about some cars now, but they might not end up being there in September for various reasons. Maybe when we announce the dates, somebody might have a prior commitment. We know Franco's and the existing champions, reigning champions, will naturally be there, and Rechard will be there. But the field might still change a little bit within what we've got now, just because of, as I say, circumstances. But there are a couple of Porsches entered. Absolutely. There's some nice ones. I don't think there are any entered at this point that could challenge for King of the Hill. But there's a nice spread of them over Classic Car Friday and also in King of the Hill.
Absolutely brilliant. But now it's not just action up and down or up the hill that counts. There's also the festival in the town itself over the week. So I wasn't able to get there last year. So tell me what it's about, the festival inside the town. What's that? What's the vibe there, Ian?
So, basically the whole thing normally starts with the motor show on the Sunday beforehand, but that's been cancelled for this year because of coronavirus, so that won't be running the weekend before. Then we start on the Thursday in town with scrutineering and the fan fest and the parade in town. This year we wanted to upscale that, do a lot more on the fields and so on. Obviously, with coronavirus, there are a lot of changing dynamics within this whole thing. And so we might have to revise what we wanted to do at the Fan Fest going forward for September. So it's all a bit of flux at the moment, unfortunately. I hate to sound vague, but things are changing on a daily basis from a number of levels. And we, at this point, honestly, we don't know what September is going to look like in the final format. There's obviously a lot of challenges for a lot of our partners and our that are involved in terms of they don't know where their businesses are going to be in 3, 4, 5 months' time. They don't know how much budget's available for certain things, Hillclimb being one of them. We don't even know at this point exactly what our budget's going to be because, as I say, things are changing quite regularly. So that's the challenge of being an event organizer at the moment. We're working with unknowns, and it's quite challenging and it's quite stressful at the same time. So the Fan Fest is an area we're going to build going forward. The years we've done it in town is really, really popular. It exposes the cars and drivers to people who might not come up onto the hill or can't afford to. We were going to run it right through the weekend this year, but as I say, we just have to see how things turn out. But it's a big part of our whole strategy and marketing and taking the event to the people. So we'll run it in some format, but I can't tell you the exact detail of what it's going to look like this year. If we're running in May, I could tell you exactly what it would look like. But as I say, as soon as we're doing it in September and there's a lot of variables in play, we're not 100% sure at this point what it looks like.
The town of Knysna, we know that motorsport is an incredible economic driver for wherever it visits and in whatever format. And Knysna in particular has, I'm told, our research department tells us that the Knysna Hillclimb, Simola Hillclimb, is the biggest draw card of all the festivals that they have in Knysna. So the town must be champing at the bit and really wanting to get this thing going.
Yeah, absolutely. So it definitely brings more money to town. Maybe not ultimate numbers more than the Oyster Festival, but in terms of economic spend, it's definitely acknowledged as the biggest event in Knysna at the moment. We've got a lot of guys who come for the weekend to enjoy themselves, and they spend money at the restaurants and pubs and all over the place. So it's the town businesses love it, the town folk love it, the municipality. It's obviously important for the whole town as such. We get very limited support from the municipality, but it's very important for the town, and that's why we started the event. Was after the 2008 financial crisis, was to bring people to town, and I think after coronavirus, it's going to be even more important for the town than it possibly was after 2008. Knysna is built on tourism and property development, and with coronavirus now, there's absolutely 60% of businesses are shut, and that's not just obviously from the lockdown, but I mean there's zero going on because it's guest houses, hotels. There's nothing that really keeps going except for the supermarkets really, and one or two other essential services, doctors, pharmacists. But it's very tough times for the town. The tourism industry at the best of times. We've had quite a few whammies in Knysna, from 2008 crisis to the fires in 2017 to the drought in Cape Town, which affected us here. So there've been a good few disasters, let's say, that have impacted tourism to the town, and so the town's bled quite a lot, and so more than ever, it's going to need events like the Hill Climb and the Oyster Festival to try and drive tourism and try and bring people back into town.
Yeah, and the guys from Rocal Racing are watching, and they super keen. They've got that 370Z, I believe. And the question, ask Ian if he will squeeze a late entry in now that it's been postponed. So Ian, please fit them in. They're nice guys. They want to go fast. They want to go up the hill. Let's find a few wild card ways of putting them in.
Well, look, as I mentioned earlier, we've had one or two withdrawals, and we might have one or two more. So we'll really look definitely at the guys who have already entered and never made the first cut. The guys, as we always say, it's a very challenging thing for us to do, is who do you accept and who not to, and we get a lot of abuse for it, and it's always a very difficult decision, but we look at a number of factors, but yeah, we'll definitely look at it again. We will have one or two spots, so there will be a couple of openings. I'd say first call will go to people who entered in the first round. Can you just check with them, Colin, because I can't see their activity. Did they enter first time round? I can't remember offhand.
Yeah, I've got to say to you, of course they did. They were super quick on their... So the message, Rocal, is whatever you do, just send Ian an email like now. Not now or just now, but now. And start the whole process. And anybody else who's got the most magnificence, if you happen to have an electric VW car that holds a number of records at racetracks, particularly hill climbs. Michael Rowe, this is especially for you. Mike, there's enough time now to get the Germans to bring all their, I'm told that it's millions of ronds, and I'm sure that it will be such a draw card that Volkswagen will sell gazillion more cars. It's the right thing to do, Mike. You know that you want to do it. Bring us that mind-blowing car here. Ian, more than that I can't do. I mean, geez, it's just up to Mike. It's easy, Mike. Just do it.
Exactly. Very easy. Very easy. It's so simple. I mean, it's just... Thanks, Colin. That was a great fun. That was a great fun, yeah.
Yeah, we have to.
Maybe one day when we're big and we're properly on the global map, we might be able to track cars like that. I must say, we've had an inquiry from a very special car in Europe, a three-time European champion driver and car, wanting to come out for next year. So we're starting to get nibbles from proper international cars and proper drivers and so on. Obviously, the freight costs are one of the challenges that we're trying to work on trying to assist and make a plan to try and bring some of those guys out. But that's what we want for the event, is to bring out these really spectacular cars and drivers. And I think our inclusion in the FIA Masters is going to help a lot with that, because that obviously brings together all the champions from Europe, and with our competitors being part of that, it's going to really give us a leg up in terms of having competitor interest from overseas.
So Ruben, thanks for watching. I mean, you really do add a lot to our lives in general. And by the way, if you're looking for Ruben's shirts, he's got some brilliant T-shirts. And his famous quote is, "It ain't cool if it ain't air-cooled." Will the winners still get to go to compete overseas, Ian?
Yeah, so that's obviously one of the challenges that's going to come up for this year. Is I don't know if the FIA Masters will happen this year, if they'll postpone it. I've been in touch with the FIA. They haven't made a call on it yet, but obviously the FIA Masters is held every 2 years, and it attracts, the champions from the various European races and series are invited to it. Now, with Corona, all those races and championships and series have obviously been put on hold as well. So the end of the year is going to be very cramped in the motorsport calendar, obviously. And I I have the feeling, and as I said, it hasn't been confirmed by the FI at all, but because this event, I read between the lines that it will probably get postponed as well to next year,
Yeah.
um, so that they can finish the season now and have a season next year. So it's just going to be too cramped to do the FI Masters and complete the European Championships and series in time for October when it is. So it would be very difficult, obviously, for our winners to get their cars to Portugal by October, unless they air freighted, which is incredibly expensive. So that is
We
one
need
of
a
the
friendly
challenges.
airline.
We need a friendly airline, exactly, which I've been looking for. So hopefully we can get a friendly airline or logistics partner, a FedEx or a DHL or a UPS or something like that would be great. So that would be a challenge for this year, for this year's winners. In terms of time to get to Portugal in October. But having said that, my gut tells me that the Masters will be postponed to next year, which then we go back onto the normal cycle with May. We've got plenty of time to get our cars over to wherever that's been held in Europe.
So, in a nutshell, what we kind of just, yes, they will get to compete. And if you own or have influence in a freight company, that would go so much further in helping South African racing cars to go overseas and race there, and also to bring overseas cars to South Africa. So if you or your friends, or you know somebody who knows somebody who may know somebody at a freight company, get them to contact either us or Ian at Simola, and we can just make incredibly good things happen for your brand as you bring racing cars around and about. Ian, more than this, we can't do. We've asked, and Henk, part of our crew, has got a great thing: is in order for good things to happen, you must manifest them. So we just have, Henk. Ian, I'm not sure whether I'm allowed to say yet what we do. Apparently, they're yeses from our legal department. Production have said yes. Technical, yeah, okay, they say yes. And yeah, all right. So the heads of department here. Yeah, we've got everybody here. Legal have actually just given the final green light. We, as part of our build-up and excitement, because we can't wait for September, we're going to be showing last year's fun this year, and we're going to kick off with that tomorrow. And hopefully, for those, Franco, if you will get hold of you, and we're going to try and talk to some of the winners and do a virtual thing and rerun last year. Question is, Ian, do you think that the results will be the same this year when we run it? When we run last year's footage this year, if you get what I mean.
Well, the result will be the same.
Sorry,
well, it depends how Fritz has cut it.
I've been cooped up a little bit longer. Ian Shrosbree, any last comments from you?
Yeah, I think before you go, we obviously also looking at trying to just keep people engaged until September. So we're going to be doing a few fun things on our Facebook page as well. We're going to have a virtual hill climb kicking off tomorrow, Friday, where people can enter their own, as they're just on Facebook, enter their ideal car for the hill climb, put it that way. And there's nothing other than just do some engagement. We are looking at esports. Obviously, we don't have the track digitized and that for an esport thing, but we're looking at doing some fun stuff.
Hold my beer, we can sort that out for you.
No, well, I've been talking to Henk about it, and we were meant to do something in May, and we didn't get it done at the time. But anyway, we'd like to do that type of thing, and we've been looking at an esport element for the last year probably. So yeah, we're just going to try and do some fun things. Rerunning the 3 days of hill climb will be great, and thanks to Henk and Fritz and the team and you guys for doing that. Yeah, we just have to keep having some fun and keep things relevant and keep working towards having a great event in September.
Yeah, and keep a great positive attitude, because this too, ladies and gentlemen, shall pass, and we shall get to the other side, and we shall hear the engines throb in our stomachs and in our chests as they blast around various pieces of racetrack in the world. That thing will blow my hair back once more as it pops and bangs under launch control on the grid. Ian, thank you very much for joining us. We shall see you on the other side of this. And thank you very much for keeping the Simola Hillclimb alive. We look forward to September.
Cool. Thanks, Colin. Thanks to you, and thanks to the team, and thanks to the viewers for tuning in. And yeah, we look forward to seeing you guys in September, and probably chatting before then anyway.
We most definitely will. So there's that song, When September Comes. We can't wait. Thanks a lot for joining us. Be well, be lekker, be safe. Talk to you again from Raceday. Cheers.
Cheers.